Welcome to our final community chat of the 2018-2019 school year. As in the past couple years, we're going to utilize this final community chat to share out all the things we've done related to our strategic plan. This year, we're going to take a little bit of a different approach as we go through the strategic plan. We really want to focus on not only the things that we've accomplished, but we also want to highlight what we have coming up. We're getting ready to enter year 3 already of our strategic plan. So we want to make sure that we're hitting upon all components of the strategic plan. And I know Mr. Chambers is going to talk a little bit about finances, but I do think it's important to mention up front that we have really strived to be fiscally responsible with the implementation of the strategic plan. When we first developed the strategic plan, we developed an estimated budget and we worked that into our 5-year forecast. It's one of the reasons why staff hears from me so much. Is it in the strategic plan? Is it part of our strategic plan? Because all those monies are already dedicated. We've done it in a manner, though, where we've been able to save some money, and we're actually quite a bit behind budget at this point. We just spent some time last week going through the strategic plan budget as well as the district budget to make sure our numbers were accurate in regards to where we're at. Now we still have things that we need to do as part of the strategic plan. So we do have more money to account for as we move forward, but I think it's a very good early sign that we're doing so well financially, and it's not at the cost of not implementing things. We have been doing everything that the community, the staff, the students have asked for within the strategic plan. We've just been able to do it in a very fiscally responsible way. Tonight, the bulk of our meeting is going to be geared around curriculum and instruction. Today, we're not going to have just the administrators talking at you. We want you to actually get an opportunity to see some of the things that have gone into action in the school district over the past 2 years with the implementation of the strategic plan. And the best people to do that are the people that are working directly with our students, and that's our teachers and our instructors. The focus is on curriculum instruction because that's what we're here for, and it makes sense that the bulk of our strategic plan is dedicated to that. Down the road, I do see us in approximately 1 to 2 years. I can't believe it's that close already, but starting to think about the next strategic planning process. So as we move into the sunset years of the strategic plan, one of the things that we need to start thinking about is what are our next steps going to be. And that's going to align, and I've said this before, but that'll align approximately with the period of time that we will need additional money for an operating levy. So our next strategic plan will play a big role in terms of what that levy looks like, as well as moving forward. So at this time, I want to turn it over to our Director of Curriculum Instruction, Tina Cassady.
Okay. All right, good evening, everybody. We are very excited about all the things we've been able to accomplish these past 2 years. We had a lot of academic goals on our strategic plan, and we have made great headway in all of them. So on the screen right now, you can see these were all pieces of our academic goals in our strategic plan, and we're going to go through them one by one. So the first one was to add all-day kindergarten, and that is what we have done. All Medina City school students are now able to attend free all-day kindergarten, and we're very excited about that. The state of Ohio does require that we offer half-day kindergarten if that is what parents request, and we had 13 students this year opt to do half-day kindergarten. Throughout the year, 4 of those families did move to all-day, so we ended up with 9 across the district. But overall, I think we had great feedback from families and for sure teachers about how successful our all-day kindergarten program was. In fact, our winter benchmarks for all-day kindergarten did go up in reading and math. They improved by 20% on our STAR early literacy scores, so we were really excited about that. So what's next for us? Well, before we get to what's next for us, I want to introduce Tiffany Cosman. Tiffany is a kindergarten teacher at Garfield Elementary, and I wanted to give her a chance to talk about how all-day kindergarten has impacted her students in her classroom.
We've had a very exciting year with all-day kindergarten throughout the district. At Garfield, we've had a wonderful experience of having all of our students in the building all day. The largest benefit, in our opinion, of all-day kindergarten so far has been being able to build a grade-level family. The kindergarten teachers at Garfield have spent a lot of time this year creating our own classroom culture and our classroom family, and also a grade-level family where all of our kindergarten students can feel important, successful, and challenged. This was an exciting year for all the classes at Garfield, as that we now have the kindergarten students there all day, and they were able to take part in our morning opener, Good Morning Garfield. Kindergarten students are now able to also take part in gym, art, and music. Gives the kindergarten students more opportunities to build relationships with adults in the building, and it also gives them a different way to learn and showcase their skills and talents with their peers. All-day kindergarten students are able to take part in more learning opportunities throughout the day, including makerspace, social and emotional lessons, and science and social studies lessons, grounded in hands-on learning and play. Students are able to spend more time in academic subjects like reading and math, and this extra time allows teachers to meet more frequently with students individually and in small group. This extra time allows students to spend more time practicing their skills in a variety of ways. All-day kindergarten is truly a gift for students and teachers alike. Students and teachers can build stronger relationships, they get to know each other better, and they get to know the adults in the building better. They get to spend time exploring subjects and material that is of high interest to the students in the class. This in turn allows students to make more connections with the material in school and connect that to their own lives outside of class. Socially, students have more time to learn and practice the routines and procedures of school. Students also have more opportunity to interact with their peers and teachers, and teachers are able to scaffold that interaction for those students who may need more assistance. With all-day kindergarten, teachers are able to fully implement social and emotional lessons, including helping students utilize calming strategies when they are upset or overwhelmed. These are lifelong strategies and skills that students will carry with them. With all-day kindergarten, students are able to take part in assemblies, field trips, and other school-wide experiences. This is an important part of learning for all students, but especially students who may not have those opportunities in their lives outside of school. These experiences build the background knowledge that students need to be most successful in their academic curriculum. When students are able to experience the zoo, for example, through a field trip, their vocabulary expands, and this allows students to have a better ability to read books about zoos, and it deepens their understanding of living things and the environments that those living things need to survive. All-day kindergarten students are also able to receive more time with their teachers to work on academic skills, such as reading, writing, and math. Teachers are better able to help students when they see them in small groups more frequently, and having all-day kindergarten allows teachers to meet with small groups more often, and it allows teachers to help students throughout the day, not just in one small chunk of time. Having all-day kindergarten has allowed students to explore many concepts through purposeful play. Purposeful play allows students to explore high-interest topics through play-based learning. Curricular skills are addressed and reinforced through play and literacy-based activities. At the same time, students are learning about high-interest topics. They are practicing their social skills and learning from their peers. All-day kindergarten has been a wonderful addition to the district. Teachers and students are certainly going to be able to see these benefits for years to come, academically, socially, and emotionally.
So thanks, Tiffany. I know that her sentiments mirror what a lot of our kindergarten teachers have been saying, that has been a positive experience for kids and they have seen the benefits. So we're really excited. Amy, if you want to go to the next slide, you can see pictures that Tiffany sent in from her Garfield classroom and all the fun that they've had this year, all the great learning that has gone on. And like Tiffany said, one of the next things that our kindergartners are going to work, or kindergarten teachers are working towards, is adding more inquiry-based experiences to their kindergarten classes. Now that they are all day, they have the time to do that. So that's really exciting. So thank you for coming today. The next strategic plan initiative was to increase inquiry-based learning opportunities, and we have done a lot of that. We have added maker spaces to Garfield and Claggett, and that has been very successful. We've had a couple board meetings where they have presented and shown all the great things that the kids were learning and doing in those spaces. We're really excited about that. We've also expanded Project Lead the Way, which is a program that we have at the middle schools right now, which is an inquiry hands-on based program, and we are expanding that to the high school, so we're really excited about that. Next year they will have a biomed class that will be hands-on, and we're excited. So what is next for us in makerspaces, or in inquiry-based learning? We are going to be expanding our makerspaces now to all elementary schools. So every elementary student in the district will have an opportunity to learn and grow in a makerspace. And we're also going to add one to Root, so both of our middle schools will have one as well. So that will be happening this coming year. Another thing that we have been working on is what we are calling Genius Hour at Wait. And Wait really has led the way in this initiative, where kids are working on interest-based projects, and they have done a great job, and it is catching on. I know Garfield Elementary has sent teachers over, and they are going to be working, Wait and Garfield are going to be working closely together to on this interest-based activity, which is inquiry-based as well. So I would like to introduce Vanessa Shriver, 5th grade teacher at Wait Elementary, and Vanessa's going to talk to you about how this came to be and what it all includes.
So one of the things that we realized at Wait was social studies was starting to take a little bit of a back seat, and we didn't want that to happen. We had so many rich projects that we wanted the kids to be engaged in, but we just didn't have the time. So we decided to be a little creative and a little daring, and we decided to put all of our subjects kind of aside, a typical day aside, and create our Wednesdays. And we ended up calling those Wondrous Wednesdays. And the reason why we did that is because we wanted to give 150 minutes to social studies. And we were able to do a ton of our projects through that. So one of the things that we do is we do town halls. So on the next slide, so these are town halls. This is to create our community. We found that it's super important for our kids to feel like they're leaders and to have their voices heard. So the students run for an election, and I'll go over that in a minute. But there's shout outs and concerns, and it's just a way to build that community. So on the next slide, these are really two of our big social studies standards that we do project-based learning with. So the election process, which then feeds into the town halls, because we elect a president and a vice president, and they're the ones that lead our town halls. But the students this year, it was so popular, we had 26 sets of presidents and vice presidents that we kind of had to weed through. But they play a huge leadership role, and again, that builds that teamwork. They have their first experience with voting. We also allow them to have a committee where they can select, a treasurer and just all kinds of different team members, and then they're given money, and they can decide how to allot that money, if they want their poster in a prime area, if they want to pass out pamphlets and what have you. So that's just a picture of two that were our president last year. One of the other ones that we do, a big standard, is the economics project, and we do a business fair. We actually bring local businesses in to speak with our students about entrepreneurship and to answer any of their questions about starting their own business. From there, the students come up with their own business, their own logo, what they're going to sell, and that's where we really incorporate a lot of the vocabulary in their business plan. And then we invite parents and community in, and they're given $3 where they can invest in a business. So the kids are always excited to find out who the winner of the business is. The next one we are really big into STEM. So obviously the social studies plays a huge chunk of our Wednesdays, but so do STEM. And one of the rotations through here, when we do the STEM, we really want them solving a problem. And I don't want to give them the answers. Year after year, we would find kids coming in saying, well, what's the answer? Well, how do we do this? So we've really created a culture where kids are totally stepping away from that. And it takes a little bit of time, but they realize they just keep going back and trying it again and again. You'll notice that you'll see we have a mini soapbox derbies we wrote a grant for. So each of the kids have their own soapbox derby car with a shell that they can manipulate the weight. And then we actually run a soapbox derby. So when we talk about the inquiry-based teams, one of the groups that they can select is the soapbox derby, where that group of kids, they actually build the car. So the car's taken apart, they build it back together, and then they actually go to the soapbox derby and race. So, and then the other picture, they're just doing an activity. A lot of it is team-based, which again, it's huge for them to learn how to work together. So the interest-based learning, or the inquiry groups, has really grown. We got the idea from Google. So Google gives their employees time to explore what they're truly interested in and what they're passionate about. So what we do, and I say we as the teachers, the fifth grade teachers, we try to figure out what we're passionate about. And then we try to give the kids, they can pick from a list. So one year we did drama and we did 2 plays, and the kids become the producers and the choreographers and the designers. So they kind of do it all. And then there was 3D printing. We wrote a grant for a 3D printer. That was one of them, CAD, Scratch. So one of the other things that we've done is coding and robotics. The kids then, it kind of caught on just in our building. And 3rd grade teachers approached us this year and said, hey, can our kids get involved? So we had to do a little bit of manipulating with the schedule, but it was really neat because we had 3rd graders working alongside 5th graders. We have a yoga instructor, 3rd grade teacher, so that's what she was passionate about, and that's what they were able to do there, mindfulness, different ventures. Then this actually led us to talking with the Medina County Career Center, because one of our things was, how do we connect on a bigger level? Like, how do we get these kids truly involved? So we batted around the idea of connecting with the high school. But then Cindy, our principal, said, well, what about the Medina City Career Center? So we took a field trip there, we being Cindy and the 4 teachers. We went over there and we toured it, and we're just absolutely blown away by what was there. So next year, what our hopes are is that our incoming 5th graders will be able to have a quote-unquote career buddy, where they'll be able to provide us with a selection of what our kids can then select, and to go over and be able to go into, there's so many different things they can do, but, animal management and care. Kids, they're really passionate about that. They can pair up with that. We're looking at it for probably maybe a 6-week run, however that will look. But again, that's in the planning, but it's been an exciting 4 years of doing this.
So you can see there's great things going on in inquiry-based learning around the district. We're really excited about that program, and we're excited now that Garfield and Wade are going to be working closely together to get that done. And thank you, Mrs. Shriver, for coming tonight. You did a great job. Other things that we're doing in this area, we've added 2 new gifted positions at the middle schools this year, and those gifted teachers are going to be helping us with our inquiry-based learning initiatives. So they will be meeting with gifted students and working on their individualized plans, but they will also be working with staff and other students on inquiry-based learning. So we're excited about that. And again, we're going to continue to look at expanding Project Lead the Way at middle school and high school. So those are the ways that we're increasing inquiry-based learning opportunities as of now. Another area in the strategic plan was to increase extracurricular opportunities for elementary and middle school students. And so the things that we've done, Mr. Maddie in our curriculum department. He created a summer STEM enrichment program for kids in grades 5 through 8, and they have a lot of different activities that they can participate in, which is very exciting. And so that is going to be starting here in the next couple of weeks. If anyone's interested, give Mr. Maddie a call. Another thing that we started, we didn't start it, Mr. Krejci at the high school started, was a Robo Olympics. That was really an exciting thing that we were able to offer students, and I'm going to let Mr. Krejci talk a little bit about his program.
Microphone there. My name is Andy Krejci. I teach physics at the high school. I run the summer school program, and last year I started the Robo Olympics. And what it's about are these Lego kits. These are Lego robotic kits or Mindstorm kits. Almost every school has them somewhere in some storage, probably collecting dust. About 3 years ago, I created a fighting robot club at Fenn. Some parents got together some money and we bought some kits and we did some. And these kids I've run with up until last year. And last year I had this idea. I coached Science Olympiad. I was a part of the first Lego League, which was sponsored by Lockheed Martin. And it was kind of tough because there was always the super duper duper teams, the ones that you can never ever beat. There was always also presentations and poster boards involved, like because adults ruin everything. So I wanted just a pure robotic competition. So let me put this together here. Give me 1 second. So these robots, I found out, are able to connect by Bluetooth, and you can drive them then with phones. All right, so it went from driving them around with like wired controllers to now they move around with their phones. They can drive them with their phones. There's little action motors, so the point is I wanted fighting robots. That was the whole thing. So what it turned out to be from my grand plan to reality with 8th graders was that we ended up with 5 or 4 events. I don't know. Can I see what they have up there? I don't know what she had, what she created for me. There'd be something. Oh, good. This is exactly what I was hoping would happen. Can you pause that for a second and I'll set it up? I feel like I'm on a talk show. So my idea was to just do track and field events, like a decathlon with robots, races, relays. I wanted them to be remote controlled. I wanted them to be programmed. The sky's the limit, really. And so this is a video of they're supposed to race their robots around that stool and back. And one, I'd like to point out the hilarity of it. Watch these robots. And then second, watch their enthusiasm. That's what I'd like you to see. So if you would. They're just going around that stool and back. They're going backwards, sideways, This is the second time we only ever did it, so it was. And I'll speak over this. So we ended up with 4 events, a sprint, a sumo battle, which she might also have on there. This figure 8 race, and then a battle royale where they all fought together. And then we allotted points for the teams, and then they got medals, and then the overall teams got 3D printed trophies from the makerspace, which was perfect. So what would I like to do? That was at Claggett last year. William Troyer, the PLTW teacher, helped me out with that. As I understand it, talking to Ms. Conley, I think I'm going to head over to Root and start a program there with their robots so that we can have a big competition. Sorry, one last thing. And then in March, I had the Claggett Gymnasium. I rented it out for a morning, and we had our 4 events in front of the adults and everything. So next year, I'd like to have multiple schools go. And then, if I may say, my ultimate goal is to have all schools, high school, elementaries, middle schools, no ages, just pure competition, just robotics. Again, I like it because it'll always keep improving. It started out just, racing. By the end of it, they were geared. They were tweaked out. Like they improved, and that would keep happening every year. So I think it fits everything in the STEM curriculum. I think it's fun, and the kids, are pretty enthused at it. So that's Robo Olympics. Thank you.
Such a great experience for our kids. And I know on one of the slides that Mrs. Conley had on there, I think she said 70 parents showed up to come. Yeah. 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 So she had 70 parents came to watch their students show their robots. So that was so thank you so much for doing that. So exciting. And those are the kinds of things that we want to offer our kids. We want to offer them those kinds of experiences. So that's what the strategic plan is all about. We want to continue to offer other things as well. So next year, we are going to be looking at expanding our summer enrichment program. Right now, it's focused on STEM. Last year, it was focused solely on STEM. This year, we added a drama portion and a world languages portion for grades 5 to 8, but we want to open that up. We want opportunities for all kids K to 12. So we're going to be continuing to expand that. And then we also want to make sure that kids have opportunities like Mr. Krejci's program, coding clubs, makerspace sessions, other kind of after-school activities. We want to expand that. So we'll be looking to do that next year as well. Another area in our strategic plan was to add elementary reading and math coaches. We started before the strategic plan. We were lucky enough to have Tracy Swantek in our department, and Tracy is our district reading coach. She has been working with teams of teachers all across the district. She's been focusing on helping third grade during PLC times, look at their curriculum, make sure that they understood the curriculum and the standards, and she's been working really hard at that. We're really proud to say that these are preliminary scores, but right now our scores on our third grade state testing increased. 3 years ago, we were at 68% passage, and we hit 81% this year, which means we met state benchmark. We think a lot of that has to do with Tracy, so we're really excited to have Tracy here, and I'm going to turn this over to Tracy to kind of talk about what she does.
Thank you, Tina. So I've been working in the position for 2 years now, and the first year I primarily worked with 3 through 5 teachers on the CFA process, the Common Formative Assessment process. So what that entailed was bringing a team of teachers together and going through the standards and prioritizing the standards so that we could make sure that we were designing assessments that focused on those priority standards so that when kids took state tests, they were prepared in the best way we could. So it was really a year-long process to go through our entire curriculum in grades 3 through 5 in reading to put those, or to prioritize the standards and put pre-assessments, post-assessments, and then quick checks together along the way so teachers could gauge progress of their students all throughout the year. This past school year, then I spent a lot of my time going to the PLCs, the professional learning communities. I targeted third grade. Prior to being in this position, I taught third grade, so it's a bit of a comfort for me, but also because we knew that that was an area we really needed to focus on. So the greatest thing about my position was being able to go to a PLC at one building and hear, see the results of how kids were performing on a quick check or on a performance test and kind of brainstorm with the teachers what to do to help maybe fill a gap. And then the next day go to a PLC, and another third grade PLC, and a lot of times it was the same issue. And so I could say, hey, at Canavan, we came up with this idea, and it just kind of spread. And so it was really powerful, for teachers to hear that, oh my gosh, my kids weren't the only ones who struggled with this, and here's an answer that my colleagues across town are trying. Supporting our teachers is really, really important. As I've heard the other teachers talk about their work with students, I don't have that connection with students. I am here to support the teachers because what they're doing is just amazing. And so trying to help them with the curriculum is how I feel I can best help them in my position. So I also began a lot of work this year with grades K through 2, really taking a look at our phonics curriculum, trying to make sure that our younger grades are prepared to head into 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade as those testing years. So that's kind of where we left off this year, and I know that will continue into next year.
So like Tracy said, our teachers are just fabulous, and we want to make sure that we're supporting them in the best way possible. And so with a position like Tracy, we're able to do that. So thank you for that. So what is next? Next, we are going to be adding an elementary math coach, and we're really excited about that. I wanted to introduce Katy Bober. Katy is our new elementary math coach for K-5. And so Katy, do you want to say a few words about who you are and what you've done in the district?
Hi everyone, I'm Katy Bober, and I'm really excited to be a math coach for elementary schools starting next year. I listened to Tracy talk, and I can't wait to be in that position and have all this positive energy coming from the position. I can't wait to set foot in classrooms and help teachers and be a supporting person if there's questions. And I can't wait to see, I hope our scores go up like yours did in math, because that's some great growth you've had. So I'm excited to get started. Thanks for having me.
So those are some positive positions that we're really excited to be able to add next year. Unfortunately, no one from the high school was able to attend tonight, so I am just going to go through. We've done some really great, well, Mr. Krejci, but he was working with middle school. Sorry, Mr. Krejci. But we have done some really great things at the high school as well. One of our other initiatives was to review and add elective courses to middle school and high school, and we surveyed students and staff and asked what they thought was important. Some of the things that students asked for was another language. We had a lot of interest in German and French, and we decided to go ahead and add French, which has been a great program. Mr. Briley's done a great job teaching that. And so we added French 1 last year. We're going to add French 2 next year. We added a photography class. That was one of the most popular things for students they wanted to see. So we added digital arts photography, which we have a great program there. Home maintenance was something that we were able to add in our industrial arts program. So students are learning to fix leaky pipes and faucets and do just regular home maintenance kinds of things. We added aerospace engineering, marine biology, and again, we are going to add a Project Lead the Way section to the high school. So we're really excited about that. In the future, we're looking to continue to add French 3 and 4 as necessary, and then also continue Project Lead the Way, Biomed, all the way through 1 through 4. So that'll be a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior courses. So next year, we're also going to be looking at middle school electives. We're going to be, again, surveying staff and students to find out what's important to them. And we're also going to be looking in the future to expand Project Lead the Way. So. Another thing that we worked on in our department was to create consistent grading, homework, and assessment practices. And this was something that the community asked us to do. We heard a lot in our early community meetings before the strategic plan even that parents were asking that things be more consistent across the district. They were finding that at one elementary, things were done this way, another elementary, things were done another way, that the way their kids were being assessed was completely different, grading practices. So those are the kinds of things that we have been working on in our department. So the principals and CDCs got together and they worked on elementary homework guidelines for the elementary schools. And Amy, if you click that, this is what they came up with, that homework should be a practice of concepts taught during the school day, and students should be able to complete it on their own. Homeworks with a specific and necessary purpose will be sent home. Homework is practice, so teachers will not grade student work or penalize with loss of recess. Homework is an important communication tool, allowing parents to see the work going on during the school day, and we believe learning is its own reward, so we don't reward students with points, candy, or et cetera for completing their homework. And that was done based on research that we did on the effectiveness of homework. So we wanted to make sure that our practices matched what current research was saying in elementary school. We also worked on consistent grading practices in math, and we're doing that through curriculum adoption. So as we look at curriculum adoptions, we're looking at also how are we grading the curriculum. So that's a conversation that we've been having. And like Tracy said, we've been working on common assessments in elementary ELA and also middle school and high school math. So we're working on getting our assessments more aligned. So what's next is we're going to continue working on common assessments across the district and continue reviewing grading practices in all subject areas. Academic recognition was another area in our strategic plan. We have been looking at how we recognize students at the high school, and we do a great job with seniors. We didn't have any formal recognition program for freshmen, sophomore, or juniors, so that's something that we're going to be looking at instituting this coming school year in 1920. But what Mr. Harrison did, he got a group together of parents and staff and looked at the way that how do we know who to recognize? What are we looking for academics? And one of the things that we decided, that they decided as a group, was to move away from class rank, and they're instead going to use the Latin honor system. So there will be more students that will be able to be recognized for their great academic work. And another thing that they looked at were graduation requirements for the credits. We realized that as a district, we had one of the lowest requirements, only 20 credits students needed to pass or to get to graduate. And most of the area districts were at 21, 22, even some at 23. And so we moved that from 20 to 21. So what's next, what you can look forward to next school year would be an academic recognition program for students in grades 9 through 11 coming soon. More information coming soon. So another area besides academics was college and career goals, and that also fell within our department. And two things specifically that the strategic planning process wanted to see was an increased outreach to parents about college and career opportunities, and also about college and career programming, to increase college and career programming at the high school. So what we've done, first and most importantly, and that's what's not on here, is that we were able to hire another high school counselor who is our college and career counselor and is able to lead a lot of these great initiatives that are coming up. But we also organized, with the help of our college career counselor, a financial aid night in December where parents could come and learn about how to apply for financial aid, how to fill out the FAFSA, what schools are looking for. They got their questions answered, so that was a very informative night. We've had parent ed camp sessions. We've held parent ed camp in the fall for the last 2 or 3 years, and we've had college and career sessions led by our high school counselors. Carrie Schreck, who is our college and career counselor, has done a wonderful job of organizing Blackboard resources for parents. So if you have not seen this, I think Amy's going to put this presentation on the web, and if you click that really quick, Amy, you can see there's just a ton of resources on the website, so that is a great link for you. It'll give you tons of information about college and career. So I wanted to make sure that was pointed out and that people knew that was there, because there really are great resources. And just like parent quiz, what kind of helicopter are you? There's a good resource right there. So there's lots of good things, though, from financial aid to how to fill out an application, what you want to look for in visiting a college. So there's lots of things in there. Also, if you are on Twitter, I highly suggest if you have a high school student that you get onto the MHS school counseling, if you follow them, because they have lots of great information. They tell you when applications are due, what's coming up, programs that they're running in their department. So that's a great Twitter feed to follow. So what's next in outreach to parents and students? We're going to be holding a parent ed camp in 2020 that is college-only information night. So we'll have a parent ed camp in January. Stay tuned for more information, but that will be all about college information. And the college and career programming that we've done at the high school, lots of great things. We've added a financial literacy class, so that was really exciting. That was something that our community felt very strongly that our students didn't know enough about. how to balance a checkbook, those kinds of things. We also included resume writing into that class, so there's a lot of great things that go into that. We have counselor-led career exploration in 9th grade in the ELA classes, where the counselors come in and they give every student an Ohio Means Jobs account, and they give them an interest survey, and then they have them research whatever their survey indicated that they were interested in. So that's been a great experience. And now what they've just recently added this past year was an 11th grade portion to that. So kids see them in 9th grade, and then in 11th grade, I believe in their financial literacy class, they go in there and they do a follow-up with them. What were you interested in? What are things that you want to do, when you get out of high school and college? So another thing that they did this year was to add a jobs week. They had speakers come in. They had job applications, how to fill out job application sessions. So they had a lot of great things in their jobs week. What's next? We are currently working on a junior and senior internship program where we are going to be soliciting area businesses that would be willing to take in our students. And students could go out during their last period of the day, if they have a free period, and work with the businesses, learn what it's like to work in a workplace, see if they're interested in, let's say, finance, if they're in a bank. Is that a place that they want to be? Is that something they're actually interested in? So they'll be able to participate in that program. So we're just really in the forming stages of it. We hope to get the program started in January of next year. So more information will be coming with that soon. And middle school counselors are also working towards career exploration activities for middle school students. So they'll be having more opportunities to do that next year as well.
And I want to thank Tina, as well as all of our teachers and staff, for joining us here today to share out the goings-on in the district. You can see we've got lots of programming that we've recently implemented over the course of the past few years, but we still have a lot of work to do. I think the most impressive thing is there's not only cool programming, hands-on programming going on in the district, which is vitally important. If we think about how we actually work in the professional world, we work in groups, we collaborate, we create, and that's the same way that we should be teaching our students as well. And one of the things that we're following as we implement this type of programming is how it's impacting our students' education. And the early results are very positive. And I want to thank everybody with the increase in scores. Of course, we don't base everything we do off of scores, but it's something that we need to be cognizant of as we're moving forward to ensure that our new programming is successful. Thank you. And we are going to take a quick transition to our community relations, and I'll allow our teachers to get off the camera. One of the key components to our strategic plan, and really to our philosophy as a district, is a collaborative approach to what we're doing. It's my belief and my leadership style to put others in leadership roles and then work together to decide what's best for our students. And that's not just among staff, but it's among the community, businesses in the community, parents as well, in order to ensure success and that we're providing the kind of academics and kind of educational programming that's expected of our community. It takes that collaborative component. We as a school district are not separate from the community. We are a part of the community, and the success of our schools impacts the success of our community and vice versa. The work that comes out of our communications department is absolutely outstanding, and I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of time and effort that goes into a lot of the outreach programs that you see happening across the district. So Amy Busby, our Director of Communications, worked with the community through the strategic planning process to decide what the future is of the communications department, and she's going to share where we're at and where we're headed.
All All right. Thank you. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. As Mr. Sable mentioned, we are working on year 3 of our strategic plan. And as part of that plan, from a community engagement standpoint, it's really kind of a building block. So we started to increase awareness of our school districts even before we started the strategic planning process. So as we move forward, we're continuing to build on things that we've already done. And one of those things is to build awareness throughout our community each and every day. So we are focusing primarily on collaborative partnerships. So we work with Main Street Medina. I'm on several committees. We have lots of our students even participating and volunteering within our community through programming that is community-wide through Main Street Medina. So it's not just from our district standpoint, but it's also our students getting involved as well. The city of Medina, recently we had celebrated our bicentennial, so the district was part of that particular committee with the city. So we were able to work collaboratively with a multitude of different community members from actually all walks of the community. So that was a great way for us to continue to have outreach. We work with the Medina Chamber of Commerce to kind of collaborate with our business community. So one really cool thing that we did this year is we had an opportunity to present the state of the schools, for lack of a better term, to our business community during one of the chamber luncheons. And we actually had students and staff presenting our state of the schools instead of one of us talking about that. So it was kind of more of a lunch and learn. It was very interactive. So the participants that attended that day were able to see the students in action. So really to get a great handle on what happens in our classroom each and every day. We also work with the county auditor's office and more or less to continue outreach. The auditor has a really great newsletter that he publishes on a regular basis. So we try to include information in there. And we also reciprocate not only for the auditor's office, but Main Street Medina, the chamber, and the city as well. We also are working very closely with our senior community. As people probably notice, our senior community is a growing community and a very important community to our school district. So we continue to distribute information about community events that may be of interest to them. They receive our monthly newsletter, the Be Informed, which goes to parents, community members, and out into the community in a variety of areas, the library, city hall, and all around the school district. So we have actually even brought students to entertain in some of our senior communities. So one of a recent example is the Stardusters Jazz Ensemble from the high school recently went and performed at one of the senior community, and they love to see our students come. So it's really an important aspect and something that we like to do. And it's great for us to even sit and visit with our seniors and talk about our school district, and they get to see our kids in action and all of the extreme talent that they provide. We're also trying to actually find ourselves out into the communities, so increasing our visibility that way. So we've attended a multitude of community events, in particular Medina Fest, which used to be called International Fest, and several other things, but it's really now taken a focus on Medina itself and what Medina has to offer to our community. So we've participated in that. We have students come and participate. Last summer we had 4 or 5 students actually painting on the square live. So that was another way for us to show our students' talents. We also brought our augmented reality sandbox, which is part of our makerspace. And it really gave the community a great opportunity to see what our kids are working with in a math and science capacity. And we've also been at Farmers Market, especially in the month of August when people are getting ready to think about going back to school. We supply school supply lists, any information that might be important to parents, like Meet the Teacher Nights, open house, just copies of our quality profile, which you can find on our website. So our quality profile, just to talk about that for a few minutes, really covers our entire district. So we get our state report card, but our districts and our schools are way more than a district report card. So that quality profile really shows all the great things that we have going on in our school district. And of course, our business community is very important to us as well. So last year, we, for the second year in a row, we conducted a business bus tour. So we were at Claggett Middle School and the high school this past year. So it's just a really great opportunity for our business community to go through our school buildings and talk with students and talk with staff and really get a grasp on what happens in the classroom every day. And again, as I mentioned, we were able to present at the chamber as well. So what's next for community engagement? So over the course of the next 1 and 2 years, we're going to begin research and the process of creating a consistent brand identity for across the district. As you probably have seen on several occasions, we have a multitude of logos and different things. So we're just trying to bring a cohesiveness to what that looks like. So the goal is to complete that process by the end of the school year in 2023. During this school year, we're looking to refresh our district website. We built a new website about 3 years ago now, so just trying to keep things interesting and exciting. And websites that are available now, we're not changing who hosts our website, but we're going to give it a little bit different look so that we're able to do more things to bring more information to our community. We have an extremely large volunteer base, parents, community members, that has grown quite large and is becoming a little bit more challenging to manage. So during this school year, we're going to be building an online volunteer service that people can sign up to volunteer, and it's a little bit more automated, not a little bit, it's a lot more automated than what we're accustomed to. And this will hopefully make this process easier because we do require our volunteers to go through background check and all of those things. So we'll be building that starting over the summer.
Thank you, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, I would like to introduce unsung hero in our district and leader of unsung heroes. The next part of the strategic plan is facilities, and in order for students to gain the most out of their academics, they need to have a good environment in which they're learning. And it's our maintenance staff, it's our custodial staff under the leadership of Mr. Burkhart that makes all of that possible, and doesn't just make it possible to keep these beautiful facilities running, but also to do it in a fiscally responsible way. So, Mr. Burkhart.
Good evening, thank you. I'd like to start by recognizing our facility committee, which is a group of 2 board members and 3 community members who spent a lot of time with us looking at our facility issues. We gather data from our staff, our students, our community as far as improvements that are needed across the district, and our maintenance staff, of course, as well, identifies some of those issues that you see maybe in the back rooms of the utility areas and boiler replacements and hot water tanks and those sort of things. But we typically will, around September, October, identify projects that need to go forward into the following summer based on safety, as well as looking at minimizing future costs. So that could be issues like a roof leak, that if we don't address the roof leak, then we're going to have interior damage. And then last but not least, we always want to do things that enhance the learning environment in our buildings to make it more inviting, more comfortable for our students, because it's important that our facilities are not only safe, but they're something that our students like to be in and enjoy. So I'd like to thank that group for all their time and dedication. Energy efficiency is another component of the strategic plan that we focused on, and doing an LED lighting project across the district was perfect timing for us, because the last time we addressed lighting was in 2008, and those bulbs and ballasts were starting to actually get to their life's completion at that point. So we went through and we did all interior and exterior lighting with new LED. We did not do stadium lighting, and that has come up recently with a few conversations we've had. And the reason is the lighting in the stadiums really isn't used enough to justify the payback for that investment, because LED lighting in a stadium requires a whole new fixture and is pretty costly. But we are seeing great savings already with the LED lighting that we did do inside the buildings. We've taken actual measurements from circuits before, and then we're going back after the project's complete and verifying that those savings are at what the projected amount was or better. And in many cases, we're seeing even better than was projected. All of this is leading to us getting Energy Star certification on all of our buildings. I will say most of our buildings are in the 90s, as far as upper 90s, some of them. We do have some very efficient buildings, thankfully, because one of our lighting system, and I think two, a House Bill 264 we did back in 2008, where we addressed heating and cooling and building automation systems to turn back the temperature in the evening and do those sort of things to control our energy use. And just the next slide, I want to just kind of highlight this summer's projects. We've typically invest about 1.2 million in our projects through the summer, but this summer we've been able to increase that a little bit with some of our carryover funds and some of our reserve funds. So we're doing roofing work at Canavan, which actually just started today, in the Medina City Rec Center. We're doing the entire area over the field house, and then the areas over both the pools in the building. And that project started about 2 weeks ago, but unfortunately all the rain, we've only maybe got 4 or 5 days of solid work in there. Paving repairs across the district. What we do is identify the worst areas of paving and go through and mill those areas and patch them. Unfortunately, we don't have the funds to do like a complete resurfacing of a whole parking lot, just because it gets so expensive and so quickly that it would limit our paving to just doing that and then letting other areas deteriorate worse. But we've identified all those areas, and we're down to, I think, just two remaining facilities that need addressed at this point. A real exciting project for our students is going to be the Claggett Gymnasium. We are partnered with the Medina Athletic Boosters, and as far as doing the floor in there, we're going to take the floor down all the way down to raw wood, repaint all the graphics on that floor, and then recoat it. So it's going to look really nice. I know there's a picture, I think, on our website of it. And then we're also replacing all the bleachers in there, and they started yesterday with the removal of those bleachers so that the flooring can get done, and then the new bleachers can go in right after that. The Northrop Connector Trail is a partnership with the City of Medina, where we are going to create a trail between Northrop Elementary and Reagan Park. Primary purpose is safety, so that when we have needs to expand our parking because of events going there, that we can park people safely and not block fire lanes, as well as another source of egress from the property. So we're working through that right now with the city to get the easement in place and the shared land use agreement. The project's fully designed and ready for bid, and we're just approaching that part of the project. We're doing concrete repairs. We separated that out of asphalt because it's a whole nother trade, and we're doing various improvements as far as asphalt at AI Route here at the high school. We're looking at some areas at Heritage now, just to get those addressed, as well as at our operations facility out on Lafayette Road. Door and window replacement, we do this typically every summer. We try to hit, but we're doing quite a bit we've identified doors or windows that have seen their life expectancy or not energy efficient anymore. So we're doing some at Canavan, some at Evolve, Route, and the high school. And then this next project, Acoustical Panels at Heritage Gym, we're doing that in-house. We did a sound study in there, and what we're trying to do is get the the gymnasium more comfortable for everybody because of the echo effect that's in there with all the hard surfaces. So we have purchased all the panels ourselves, and we're going to install those based on an acoustical engineer's study. Those panels just came in, so we'll probably get started on that in the next week or two. The gutter and fascia replacement at Garfield's on the rear of the building where the playground is. We're seeing a lot of water getting in from that area of the building and getting inside the walls and causing more damage. So we're replacing that gutter and fascia. We have carpet and tile replacement work at Heritage, Garfield, Evolve, and Bowman. And then another project we're doing in-house is we replaced the ceiling on the first floor main hallway with, we're replacing the hot water return line because it was actually choked down from all the calcium and the flow was not so great. So we replaced that hot water line, and then we're also replacing the ceiling and replacing the lighting down through that hallway. And then every summer we do get together a crew of landscapers and painters, and we go around and paint interiors of different buildings. I know we're doing work at Claggett right now, and then we're going to be at Garfield, we're going to be at Heritage, and then many of the other buildings as well. And then our landscaping crew just does a great job of keeping everything trimmed, and then we go through and mulch playground areas and mulch bedding around the front of the building. So real busy summer, but all fun, exciting stuff. So.
Thank you, Mr. Burkhart. And a big part of the challenge is, as our community knows, the district went through financial hardship, and in order to try and focus our dollars as much as possible on the actual education of the students, a lot of money was pulled away from maintenance and facilities. So we've got a big job to actually catch up with many of those projects. And as Mr. Burkhart said, the facilities committee really plays a vital role in that process and in those decisions that we're making. Last up, in the final part of our strategic plan, is finances, a man who needs no introduction, our district treasurer, Dave Chambers. I do have to say that in Dave's time in the district, he has really brought a high level of accountability when it comes to finances and fiscal responsibility in the district. And I think he's probably one of the few treasurers in Ohio that can say he actually came in and made the district money through some of the financial recommendations that he's made to the Board of Education through investments and other sources like that. And he's just going to wrap up talking about the financial piece of our strategic plan.
Well, thank you for that introduction. As you know, everything has a cost, and when we first set out on the strategic plan, we set costs to every implementation and every program that was going to be set forth over the 5 years. This past year, we anticipated $2.887 million to be spent on the strategic plan itself, but based on cost savings that Mr. Sable spoke about earlier, we were able to basically have all of our implementation and programming come in under cost. And as a result, and I've told you this, I've told the board this, we are able to take these savings and move these savings forward, which, again, if we're moving them forward, then it means that it's going to cost less down the road for taxpayers. And I just got to thank the taxpayers one more time for their passage of the substitute levy here last May. It has really helped stabilize the district. And with that, we are looking at trying to remain fiscally responsible and looking at all cost-saving measures that we can in order to extend as long as possible. Thank you.
And I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen to and view our updates this evening. We will continue to provide regular updates to staff and community as we move forward through the strategic planning process. It's nice to be able to sit down and share so many positives with what we're doing together as a district. And our motto is every student, every day. And as long as we keep a focus on that and we work together and collaborate, we will continue to move Medina forward. Thank you.